And welcome back to Rising. Lindsey, what is in your lens today?
Let's talk about it. So if you've been feeling like Democratic leadership is stuck in neutral while the political world is speeding at 90 miles per hour, you're not alone. And based on what's happening behind closed doors in Washington, some senators aren't just frustrated, they're straight up fed up. There's a quiet rebellion brewing in the Senate. A group of liberal lawmakers, some heavy hitters, have formed what they call the Fight Club. And while the name might sound dramatic, their point is pretty simple. They don't think Chuck Schumer is steering the party in the right direction. They're challenging his strategy, his decisions around the 2026 midterms, and honestly, his entire approach to dealing with President Donald Trump. This isn't just a progressive wish list. These senators, Chris Van Hollen, Tina Smith, Chris Murphy, Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, Ed Markey, Jeff Merkley, Martin Heinrich, are raising a red flag about something a lot of Democratic voters feel: that the party keeps defaulting to safe, establishment-approved candidates when the base is clearly hungry for boldness. They've taken issue with Schumer and Senator Kristen Gillibrand's role in nudging donors towards candidates like Angie Craig in Minnesota and Haley Stevens in Michigan, while progressive contenders are sidelined. When they confronted leadership about this, reportedly in private meetings, they were told there's no favoritism happening, which only made them more furious. And it's not just the Senate. A wave of House Democrats have openly turned on Schumer also. Rep. Pramila Jayapal said flat out, quote, "I think he should step down. They should get somebody new." Rep. Yasmin Ansari said, quote, "It's past time to start thinking about new leadership for Senate Democrats that meets the moment." And Representative Ayanna Pressley said, quote, "I think that we find ourselves in an unprecedented moment, and that unprecedented moment demands new leadership, a different approach." Representative Ro Khanna took to X, posting, quote, "Senator Schumer is no longer effective and should be replaced. If you can't lead the fight to stop healthcare premiums from skyrocketing for Americans, what will you fight for?" That's not fringe talk. That's a pattern. Meanwhile, inside the Senate Fight Club, members are discussing joint fundraising endorsements, even coordinated appearances together. Their first move, a joint video endorsing Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan in Minnesota over the establishment-backed Angie Craig. Their message is clear. If Democrats want energy, vision, and a real shot at regaining the Senate majority, the party can't keep relying on yesterday's playbook. And maybe that's the real question. At a moment when young voters are disengaging with the Democratic Party, trust is low, and the stakes couldn't be higher, is it time to let the new leaders take the wheel? Because whether it's a fight club in the Senate or fed up lawmakers in the House, this noise is just not going away. And in politics, when this many people start clearing their throat at the same time, someone in leadership should probably start listening. So I'll be the first one to call out the Democrats have been in disarray since Kamala lost. We talk about it often. I think the Republicans are
It's fun to talk about.
Even more in shambles or equally in shambles.
I don't know about that.
I do. I mean, Marjorie Taylor Greene leaving the party, Massey coming at Trump
gone
every single day. I know, but it's still, that's what the party feels. There's a whole swath of people that think there's a problem with the way that the Epstein files were handled. There's a lot going on over there. But let's park that right in the parking lot. We're going to talk about the Democrats.
Yes.
They have a lot going on, and they can't just parade around saying, well, we're not Trump. That might have worked when Biden won the election. People are over that. What are you bringing to the table? And I think a lot of people tried to tie Mamdani to the overall party, and Democrats, like Chuck Schumer and others, tried to shun him. And even if that's not the full direction of the party, when you see Mamdani go into Trump's Oval Office and they even have an amicable meeting, you wonder why Democrats couldn't bear to embrace this man and some of his policies without saying they embrace the entire system that he's trying to set up and can't figure out what their new strategy might look like. So I think the frustrating part is that the establishment candidates and people who've been there for years want to keep things as the same old, same old. And a lot of people that are speaking up, and young voters, and this is on both sides of the aisle, but I'm talking about Democrats now, are really just fed up with doing things the same. They feel like nothing much has changed. And this is why you're seeing that voters who consistently turned out in past elections sat out the last one, or just switch parties, or would put their hands up and were just like, oh, I'm just doing this because I'm here so I don't get fined. And that's not you don't want that type of apathetic attitude towards an election. You want to reignite people. And I think now is a great time to try to figure out how to capture the heart, minds, and also talk to the real issues that voters are looking for people to talk to, and not the establishment, same old, same old.
Well, There's talking about the issues people care about, which I think maybe the Democratic Party is finally starting to do, that it's all going to be about affordability. It's going to be about the cost of food and groceries, inflation-related concerns, and it's going to be about the cost of housing and the cost of getting childcare. There was a big piece in the Free Press yesterday about how it was provocatively titled, and I think flawed in several ways, but it was about how we should consider the new poverty line to be an income of $100,000 a year, which is very provocative. I don't think that's true at all in
I now want to read that.
Major areas of the country, where I'm from in the Midwest. If you make $100,000 a year, you can live quite comfortably. If you're in the heart of D.C. or New York, now, are you starving? Are you in poverty at that income? No, but could you support a family of 4 on that income? You would have to make some very difficult choices because childcare alone in the District of Columbia costs about $30,000 a year. Add in rent or whatever housing cost, that's going to be the entire income. You wouldn't have anything left over for food. So that speaks to the need. Some of these things, especially, and I talk about this all the time, that young people need. Childcare, housing is so, what? What are you saying?
You're speaking to all the needs that Mamdani was talking about meeting.
Well, right, but his solutions are bad. His solutions are greater government control and subsidization of these products, which is what makes them more expensive in the first place. That is not the answer, in my view. But you're right that Democrats are talking about affordability. I don't think they have good answers to affordability, but they are talking about it, and Trump's ignoring it right now. Trump says, no, inflation's fine. It's gotten better. What are you talking about? Please ignore this. Also, increasingly I hear Republicans talk about ridiculous ideas like getting rid of property taxes. I want to get rid of all taxes, but that's the very last tax I get rid of because that's a tax on people who bought their homes when there was major availability of housing. They bought their houses for peanuts. We're getting rid of, shifting the cost of paying for the vast entitlement system away from property tax is shifting it to people, to young people. I don't want to raise income tax. I mean, I don't want to raise taxes at all, but I would rather have property tax and really sales tax would be my way to raise revenue. Not income tax. That's a tax on young people. And we have to, Republicans have to be very clear-eyed about how screwed young people are in this system right now and how that's going to delay them starting families. It makes them renters permanently. And I know that remote work means, yes, sometimes you can go live in the Midwest or the Sun Belt where everything's more affordable, but not everybody can do that. So we have to have issues with the affordability crisis. Democrats, in my view, have the wrong answers. They have answers that won't work. They have failed ideas, but they are talking about the need to address that crisis more so than Republicans are these days.
Well, the president also had a recent suggestion, which I'm assuming is representative of the Republican Party. Maybe I'm overspeaking, but he wants to give people option for 50-year mortgages. And if you understand that's a terrible idea, because if you think about
we all dislike that idea. Not a single person likes that idea.
Well, let me tell you, there's a whole story about the median age rising for buying a home.
Right.
So as it gets higher and higher, people will pass away in those 50 years.
Right.
So these are, again, defaulted or loans that never get fully paid off. They're just like sending random money that's never, it's just like all this stuff that doesn't achieve the American dream because technically you will have never
At 50 years, you're renting because very few people live in the same house for 50 years.
Right.
So you're renting and you're paying, the interest is going to get you over time. You're going to pay more. People, this is like delayed. Do you want one cookie now or 2 cookies later? You're taking the 1 cookie now.
But I prefer to hear
exact opposite of that.
A solution like Mamdani that laid out that you don't want. I mean, there's not an alternative solution that's being laid out that's like, well, listen to the Republican strategy. I would prefer, even as somebody who's like a mom who understands mothers in New York and how unaffordable, you mentioned that $30,000 price tag, that is real, right? To try to take care of a child. So when I think about living in a big city and think about moms there, he's speaking to them, what's wrong with trying stuff? You might think it's completely nonsensical, but so is a 50-year mortgage for a new mom trying to take care of a child with also a $30,000 child care bill over their head. So, like, what is being offered from the other part of the party?
We need to build more housing. Build, baby, build.
Just make it.
That's my answer.
So the houses are going to get so skinny in New York. You're going to have a slip. You're going to be like in a shack now.
We can build on top of them.
Oh, just keep going up and up.
Up and up.
Like the Burj Khalifa in Dubai. Right. Just get it.
Why not?
Highest building in the world.
Why not?
Okay, that's what you want to do.
That's my plan. Coming up, Pete Hegseth is asking the Navy to review Senator Mark Kelly's comments where he told service members to defy illegal orders. Stay with us.